It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout Shortcast, and I'm excited once again to be talking with Terry and Kim from Integrated Treatment Services about mental health. And why don't we again talk about what Integrated Treatment Services is all about, you two? And Terry, I don't know if you want to take this, or Kim, or both of you, whatever.
Well, integrated treatment services is in the people helping business. It's a behavioral health program that focuses on uh, mental health disorders, substance abuse disorders, and we deal with kids and adults. I mean, from ages 5 till we got clients that are 80 years old and as young as 5 years old. And people wouldn't think that a 5-year-old would have some intellectual issues, but it happens. Um, we deal with kids that come from dysfunctional families, and they're really, really difficult to deal with. And when they're in school, a lot of fighting and things like that, difficult to control. And um, so we're in the people helping business.
A lot of kids, even trauma like getting bit by a dog or neighbor dying. I mean, those are traumas that I have dealt with in the last year. And it doesn't even have to be anything that's significant. It can just be dad losing his job or mom losing their job. And a lot of times kids overhear parents talking and they get worried.
And they hear their parents fighting.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that leads to another. What about children who are dealing with divorce? Do you have those kinds of issues come up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, the child has to learn to recognize that whatever's happening in that adult world is not their fault. Kids tend to want to internalize those problems that they see in their family, and they think they have more power than what they do when you're looking at that situation. So they're going to blame themselves for everything. Maybe if I'd have did this better, Dad wouldn't go. Or maybe if I was this and that, Mom wouldn't be angry as Dad. But they think they have the power and control to fix it, and they don't. So their trauma becomes more and more intense as they move along, and then that's where the anxiety comes in.
Okay, and I guess I wanted some issues we talked about during the podcast, and that was depression. And it was very fascinating to talk to you both because really the change in attitude and feelings about life has to come from within, and that's kind of what you folks address. Tell us about it.
So various people can be in the same situation, and one will be depressed and anxious about everything. Somebody else in the very same situation will see it differently, and they'll see it possibly as a way to change their life or a way to learn a new skill. We need to help people learn to reframe their anxiety from something that is very scary and very intimidating to something that is manageable, something that they can control. And it's all about where your focus is. Is it on the negative or is it on the positive?
You have anything to add to that, Terry?
Well, we tend to want them to focus on the positive, and like Kim said, they have to reframe their thought processes especially when you're dealing with a lot of negativism, and there's and we talked again about mental health being stigmatized. Yeah, first we have to make it clear to them that they're not crazy, and we have to define what working on their mental health is all about. And it has to be shaped and framed in a positive way so they can see it as something that's going to be constructive for them, that's going to allow them to build on themselves, to work on being their best self.
People often ask if I recommend them for therapy after doing a mental health eval. And my response is always, well, what do you think? Do you think you need help? Because what I see is different possibly than how you're feeling. I may see ways that I think I can help you, but if that's not something you're interested in dealing with, then it really defeats the purpose to keep coming in week after week or month after month if there's no interest in change.
Mm-hmm.
So, doing a mental health eval, probation officers will often ask for a client to have that done so that they can determine whether or not therapy is needed. Well, again, it's not so much about the mental health therapist deciding one way or the other as it is about the person wanting to change or wanting to work on themselves.
So you guys are recommending then that, for heaven's sakes, people feel like they might need some therapy, but they're not sure, to come in for an evaluation?
Absolutely. And for the most part, people that recognize that they have problems, they're going to ask for therapy.
All right. How can people contact you folks?
They can, we have a website. I think it's integratedtreatmentservices.org.
But the best way is to come in and see one of us and just call the office at 641-792-0045 and make an appointment with Terry or Kim for mental health. If there's substance abuse, there's Jenna and Terrace.
Right.
So, and if you have kids and need BHIS services, they will need a mental health evaluation before we can submit it to the insurance agency for them to approve or disapprove of it. So,
And Terry, what's your address?
303 South 2nd Avenue West in Newton, Iowa, 2 buildings down east of Cardinal Corner.
All right. Our interview guests, Terry and Kim from Integrated Treatment Services. Always enjoyable talking to them and finding out more about mental health. And you should contact them if you think that you might need some help, because there's a lot of people out there that do, and you might be one of them. We'd love to be the conduit to get you into Integrated Treatment Services and talk to Terry and Kim. Thank you so much for talking with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jamie, for having us.